Featherbrain, you and Astarion were hosting a grand masquerade in the refurbished ballroom of Khazad-dûr's palace. A young elf wearing an ivory mask in the guise of a skinless skull handed you a note as he passed you in the crowd. An invitation written in a frail hand, inviting you to a gathering of the friends and allies who stood with you against the Absolute. Astarion pouted when you read the invitation to him. He'd gladly accompany you, but he would have been happy to host the party himself. As it is, you'll gather in a familiar place, and one altogether more suitable for your reunion.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
I cannot remember the last time I heard the ballad.
Hells yes! You're here!
Now there's a ditty worthy of a knee slap.
I'm flattered by the attention, darling. But don't you want to check in with some of our erstwhile companions? I'm sure they've missed you.
A most welcome sight.
You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more. We have all pined for each other's company, I sense. I cannot imagine otherwise after what we shared. That bond was forged in a crucible that can never be stoked again, Oak Father willing. It is a bond that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. Well, I am not normally given to imbibing, but this is a special occasion, and I believe our dear Withers procured a fine honey mead as part of the celebratory victuals. Even the most ascetic of nature's servants would be tempted by such an elixir, but that can wait. Your company is what truly drew me. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. In that case, very well. Our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what was once a shadowy wasteland into a true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony, stronger together. My greatest purpose and greatest reward. Those children have been through more than fate had any right to cast at them, and yet they go on as resilient as anything in nature. I impart what knowledge I can to them, yet, in truth, they teach me far more. The land we saved is theirs, and they will cherish it, I'm sure. Thaniel and Oliver shall never want for friends again. You are welcome whenever you like, and for however long you please. Now, please, tell me all, and spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see. My charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake. I am all ears, though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image. Most enthralling. Though perhaps it may lead to some sleepless nights for the younger ones. I can make something palatable with a little showmanship and creative license. Thank you. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else. I spend half my days in ursine form. The children demand it. I had a score of them taking turns riding upon my back just days ago. I'm glad they are so comfortable with the Oakfather's creations. But they must learn that not all are as amiable as I am. A lesson for another time, though. They deserve some joy. As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. Perhaps because I have found where I am meant to be. On occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Francesca of the High Forest is Archdruid now, and by all accounts, she has proven to be a steady and wise influence. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence. You read my mind. The day I weary of those lips is the day I weary of life. Of course. If only we could stay like that forever. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Oh, I am well aware, trust me. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on. Enjoy the festivities.
Your relief, your projection holds. It took a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 10 days of effort to conjure it. You can touch, taste, and talk. But your fleshy body is in limbo, the home of the mystical Githzerai. Once, the Githzerai were one with the Githyanki, until bloody civil war severed the Gith species. The Githzerai god king, Menyar Ad-Gith, sent word through the cosmos. He knows of your rebellion, and he's agreed to parley. Should the Githzerai join you, you could vanquish Flakith in a red dragon's blink.
What's the word on the rebellion? I presume you've cracked open more Kithraki heads than you could possibly count. Diplomacy. Not so different from fighting, I find. You still grip your blade, you just hide it beneath a silken glove. I'm no stranger to it myself. A city is not rebuilt with the simple wave of a duke's hand. Bargains must be made, coin must change hands, tongues must be held in check. Father leaves me to my own devices, though he's got no shortage of advice when I ask for it. Still, I make the decisions I see fit, the ones I think will restore the city to glory. I serve only Baldur's Gate, not a devil of the first hell. I've missed you too. The rush of battles we fought, the heart-to-hearts, the nights around the fire, the comfort of knowing I didn't face the unknown alone. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear, I can't imagine not having you at my side. Father's very well, and back in his element, commanding the flaming fist with as brave a heart as ever. Floric, bless her soul, convinced him to withhold the lashings and scoldings, though I know he was tempted. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's Chosen primed the fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, Father's pardoned every last fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but with Floric's help, he's teaching the fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart. I've had more than a few challenges, given the horns sprouting from my head. The people know me as one of the champions who saved their beloved city. They know Ravengard blood flows through my veins. The patriarchs, the aristocracy, the councils of Waterdeep and Arm, their arms aren't so wide open. Still, there's no friction that can't be greased with a sly promise or a proposition. The jewel of the coast will shine ever bright, welcoming the weak and the weary from wherever they hail. We are building new housing, not just shanties, but homes where families can rest their heads, plant gardens, pursue happiness. Amazing what can be done when Parliament and the Council pressure the upper city elites to open their coffers. I'm sure the Silver Shields can make do without a few more jeweled crowns. Disbanded, to be formed anew. I don't expect a soldier or street sweeper to see through the schemes of a tyrant like Gortash, but the city's lords and ladies were all too eager to abandon their oaths and bend the knee. My father, older Ravengard, is now Grand Duke of the Triad, Keeper of the Fist. Floric is now Grand Duke of the Crossing, the face of devotion. And I am Wyll Ravengard, Grand Duke of the Worm, Heart of the Gate. We will yet be four. Until such time and after, we will enact the will of the People's Parliament. Baldur's Gate is nothing without its citizens, both in the upper and lower. Our duty is to them, and only them. Of course. Never. The hexes and eldritch blasts, losing them took getting used to. They left behind a cold abyss where fire once raged. So I stoked a new one. Now the burning comes from within me, not from the depths of Avernus. Go on, the night's young. You shouldn't waste a moment of it. Or waste a single drop of wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
Ah, soldier. How glad I am to see you again. I'd started to wonder if I ever would. Honestly, never better. My life is so rich now, so multifaceted. I've wanted to share it with you, but maybe I was scared. I've changed so much. But then again, so have you. Your mind, once broken, has shown surprising resiliency. Our victory against the Dead Three changed everything. For example, my favorite food used to be mutton chops. Do you know what it is now? Brains, soldier. Brains. I thought I was good at cracking skulls before. Now I've got it down to something of a science. Or maybe more of a religion. I've made arrangements with a healer in the city. When a patient is beyond saving, but still able to speak for themselves, they're offered a choice. They can go as nature intends to take them, or when they're ready, when their goodbyes have been said, their affairs settled, and all that awaits them is pain, I relieve them. When I consume their brains, I am nourished by much more than the physical nutrition. Their memories, from birth to death, become part of me. I've lived hundreds of childhoods, first loves, marriages, feuds and friendships. I remember them all. And in this way, we all live on together. Thanks, soldier. It feels that way too. It's been wonderful to see you again. Reminds me of old times around the campfire. We used to think becoming a mind flayer was a fate worse than death. I wouldn't trade my life, this life, for anything. Funny how things change, isn't it? Enjoy the night, my friend. I know I will.
For 2 months, Orpheus trained me in the ways of the comet. For 2 more, I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. I never imagined we'd be standing toe-to-toe on this day, in this place. Nothing but allies, I always told myself. A necessary partnership. But in spite of every strained word, every barbed glance, seeing you brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head. We've spilled blood, gained a foothold in the astral, but still we need allies. And one beyond reckoning has made itself known. Zerith Minyaragith. Not a what, but a who. The immortal god king of the Githzerai. An exiled people. Once kin with mine, until the madness of civil war ripped our one sky into 2. Algish sent word of the rebellion to Minyaragith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance. My blade is keen as ever. But it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Minyaragith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. Gravity pulls me in but one direction. I am a warrior of the comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm. I suppose it is, rather. I'm just glad to be here at all. It has taken all of Orpheus's efforts to conjure my projection, and all of mine to convince him to let me come. Worth it, I'd say. I miss this place. This... Fey Run. More to the point, I missed you. I wouldn't even deny it with Vlaakith's vorpal blade at my neck. Though, I'd rather it not come to that. Now go. Mingle a bit. That's the word, right? Mingle. But don't think you've seen the last of me. I'll be back. Sure as the comet will rise. Sure as Kalir will forever circle the sun. So it has. And a fine man the hatchling will be. I call him Zaan. Freedom. He is with the mages of Zamvardim. I trust his care to no one else. Zaan's destiny will be his own to follow. Warrior, poet, explorer, scholar. His way will be the way of the comet. No chains to bind us, no lies to bury us. Liberty will be the rallying cry that unites our empire.
Friend? Friend! You came! Big brother Scratch, too! Happy. Yes, big! But Scratch is smart. Teaches me many things. Like Big Brother. Lots? Make friends with a turtle, a cat, a kraken. Kraken eats my cat friend, so I run away. Sad, tired now. Want sleep, want cave. Yes, nice here. Sleep, pets, friends.
A familiar sight. Scratch can't quite speak around the thing he has in his mouth.
I found this. It smelled like you, so I kept it. Seemed like something you might like to throw. Oh, I've been so good. I've got a nice home in the city now. A girl named Mindy says I'm her best friend. She's mine too. Also you and Albert. I've got so many best friends, I hardly know who to play with. I certainly have, and I always will. Forever, I think. And so will you. You know best, but a little fetch never hurt anyone, as far as I know.
I simply must have this one. It's practically sanguine.
You made it. Lady Shah's blessings to you. Or perhaps you don't need them. You look well. I couldn't agree more. Lady Shah's holy work is all-consuming. I doubt I'd manage without a featherbed to turn to. Her entire church prospers. The Absolute washed the Sword Coast with blood and tears. It's now a fertile ground for her message to flourish. Broken hearts, shaken faiths, refugees without homes, former cultists without purpose. They can all become the Night Singer's children, with the right nudge. You should see how they flock to us. We spread like the night sky chasing the sun below the horizon. You did, and I'll be forever grateful. Perhaps one day, you may open your eyes to her wisdom yourself. But even if you do not, I shall make sure that the sharp edge of her spreading gospel does not trouble you. But enough of that. I won't have it said that I'm not capable of enjoying a fine night with good company. Tell me what you've been doing. Can you blame them? It must be like meeting their literary hero, or anti-hero, I suppose. I suppose you'll be keen to do the rounds, with so many old acquaintances gathered. Do not let me hoard your time. But don't be such a stranger, either, in future. You know where to find me. I can always make some time for an old friend. One of the privileges of being in charge. Would that I could. But this is my life now. Lady Shah must come first. Always. What? A show of sincere affection? You're lucky none of my followers are around to witness this. Come here. Let's keep that our special secret. I have a reputation to maintain, you know. All-consuming. Endless decisions to make, underlings jockeying for your attention, threats from the outside, threats from the inside. There's times I miss when it was just our little group against the odds. Simplicity is a luxury that's drifted out of my reach, I'm afraid. But at least for tonight, I can have a taste of how it used to be. Almost as busy as I am. Such rapid growth creates a good deal of work for a quartermaster. So many lost souls in need of dark cloaks. She has risen to the occasion, though, as I knew she would. Sometimes she fears the others will grow jealous, but I see her as a favorite. Well, it's true. I do. They can challenge me on the matter if they dare, though none are so bold. I shouldn't. But from time to time, yes. Holding the office she once held, standing within the shadow of Lady Shah herself, it complicates my feelings towards her. I came to see her as an adversary, an obstacle. But what recourse did she have? What did she see when she looked at me? A future in which she was discarded, where the reward for her service and sacrifice was to groom her own replacement. What transpired was the Dark Lady's will. If time rolled back, I would do the same thing all over again without hesitation. Yet, I am not without sympathy.
How have our dear friends been without us to guide and protect them? Well, of course they do. They were never anything without us leading them. I'm amazed they've even survived this long, honestly. Still, it is good to see them. And good for them to see us, side by side, flourishing. Of course, my darling. Look at us. We share a palace, share power, live lives eternal in each other's arms. What more could anyone want? God, not this again. I give you wealth, power, pleasure, every decadence that can be afforded to a person, but you'd rather what? Sleep in the dirt again? You are my consort. And I will see you living the very best life, even if you don't appreciate it. Why don't you go and mingle? Have fun with your so-called friends. I'll be here when you're done. You're not done already.
Mustn't think about any of the local brains. far too tempting.
This one night is like any other, and yet different. Thou art the savior of Baldur's Gate, until such time it requires saving again. How dost thou feel? I am pleased to hear it. The satisfaction of one's intention is, to my surprise, a rare accomplishment. Enjoy the revelry of the day. Thou deservest at least that much. What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready. For thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving. To you. There thou art, the dead three. Thy faces gods, thy actions barely worthy of the name. Didst truly believe thy ploy would succeed? Didst believe I would not notice? Thou sought to bolster thy strength by taking away the souls of mortals. But souls vanish when their hosts become mind flayers. Didst think the other gods would not notice? Gods thou may be, yet thou hast proven thyself fools. Everyone. The supplication of Bane, the whimper of Bhaal, the death mule of Merkel. Felled by mortals. I overestimated thee. They did not. Vermin, away. Thou wilt trouble us no more.
I owe you thanks. The crown really is marvelous. I'm almost tempted to dig Karsus' soul out of whatever pit he's in, so I can show him what his creation is capable of. Now it's in the right hands. My legions are beginning their assault on Zariel's flying fortress just about now. It will fall before the sun rises over Toril, and Avernus will be mine. Conquering the other hells will be simplicity itself. Some of the archdevils are already making overtures of peace and promises of tribute. My dear father Mephistopheles is among them. Even he sees how the tide has turned. And with all 9 hells under my command, I will end the blood war, Inferna Victoria, and look for new worlds to conquer. It won't be long before I come knocking at your door. Ta-ta for now.